Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, guys, because in today's video, I want to go ahead and discuss what went on last night, because Bitcoin did actually manage to break support down around $11,700, and Bitcoin fell all the way down here to around $10,300. We had a massive sell-off around midnight Eastern time last night, but from there, we've actually managed to build a major rally. So in today's video, I want to discuss whether or not we've actually seen the bottom for Bitcoin, or if Bitcoin is going to go lower. And I also want to point out a very well-structured trade that you guys could have made last night, and that I wish I had have noticed, because I know I would have made with leverage. Perfect trade. It's a good example so that you guys can learn more about how to trade. I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of this video. So if you do, make sure you destroy that like button, guys. Like I said, it's been mean to me recently, and we have to punish it. Also, if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, guys. I know a lot of you guys are new to the channel. I wouldn't want you to miss any of the upcoming videos and any of the upcoming Bitcoin price action, like Bitcoin jumping off a cliff as we're recording this video. So if you do want to do that, that would be very much appreciated. So guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into the video. So guys, let's go ahead and recap what exactly has gone on here over the last 48 hours or so. Of course, Bitcoin was rallying up to close to $14,000, and during a live stream, we actually managed to catch this bearish breakout. I was calling for some kind of pullback, and it just so happened that it happened during the stream that we were doing, and Bitcoin would continue to pull back. It found itself under this descending triangle pattern, under this downtrend of resistance, and it was being pushed even further lower. Last night, we actually managed to break bearish out of that zone of support I was telling you guys about. I mentioned a zone of support right around this region, kind of a large one. That is not what I meant to do. Excuse me, around this zone of support. There we go. I know how to use charts. And we saw that Bitcoin did actually manage to fall through that last night. We did lose our support for a time, and Bitcoin came down close to $10,000. I was watching this on CoinMarketCap, but I was otherwise preoccupied, so I was unable to trade this like I wanted to. But at the time, if I had have seen this, this definitely would have been a trade I will make, and I will show you why in a second. But from there, Bitcoin continued to rally even higher. Bitcoin started moving to the upside. Not continued to rally higher, it started to rally higher, I should say. For a large part of the last 48 hours or so, Bitcoin has been making lower highs consistently. Lower highs, and either similarly low lows or lower lows. As you can see, this low is lower than that low. When Bitcoin is doing that, it's very clearly in a bearish trend, and you want to stay away from trading it. As people will say in my Discord server so often, they will say the trend is your friend right up until it ends. And guys, that's a very good piece of advice. If you use that methodology in your trading, you're typically going to be far more successful. The trend is your friend right until it ends. Very easy to remember because it's very poetic. But guys, that doesn't mean that the trend never ends. Eventually it does. Right down here, we saw that there was a little bit of a low right there, and then we saw that there was a lower low. But if we go ahead and look at the RSI, I just noticed this. This is one of those things I talk about with gut feeling, is that sometimes you look at a chart and you have a feeling that something's going on the oscillators before you even saw it. Right as I was recording this video 15 seconds ago, I thought, wait a minute, there's probably bullish RSI divergence down here. So let's bring up the RSI, and lo and behold, what do you know? I'm right. Bitcoin had a low right here, and it had a lower low on the chart, but just as I expected, there is a low right here on the RSI and a higher low. That's called classic RSI divergence, and that is bullish. You can see that we have lower lows on the chart and higher lows on the RSI. That's almost always going to be bullish, and that's a very good indication of when the trend is reversing. And as I said, guys, the trend is your friend right until it ends, but you have to be able to predict when that trend ends if that's going to be your friend, if you know what I mean. So Bitcoin did have a reversal signal right here as Bitcoin fell down here to around $10,000. And also, if we look at all of these different all of the different time frames, like out onto the hourly chart, what we're also going to see is that Bitcoin did start to get overextended and oversold, I should say, on the RSI. So you had a very overbought market that did look like it needed a reversal. We had RSI divergence on the 15-minute chart, and we also saw right around this time that on the hourly chart, Bitcoin started converging bullish on the MACD. Also, a couple hours later, stochastic RSI would start moving to the upside, and Bitcoin would see a big green candlestick right here with a little bit of green bullish volume. All of that indicates that Bitcoin was about to have a trend reversal, and when there's a trend reversal that is pretty obvious like that, it's a great place to put in a trade, because you can be pretty confident that Bitcoin is going to rally from there. And one thing that you could have done here, for example, is waited until Bitcoin came down here. You saw these different technical indicators like the RSI divergence on this chart right here. You saw the RSI divergence. You saw the MACD crossing on the 15. You saw the hourly chart looking bullish, and you saw Bitcoin, for example, make a higher high right here above this high. That's the first time that had happened in the last several days. We hadn't seen any higher highs here, but when we did right here, right around here would have been a good place to put in a trade, and you could have ridden this all the way up to around $12,000 where we are right now. If you were to do that, that would have been about an 8 to 9% gain, and if you were using leverage, it could have been far more than that. Guys, trading doesn't have to be as hard as it looks. You just got to figure out what the indicators are saying and where to put your trades. There's all kinds of different examples of where you can put your trades. This is one of them. This is why I want to talk about this before we continue diving on into what I think Bitcoin is going to do, because I know that you guys will find value out of me showing you how to make better trades. And this was a perfect example of a trade you could make, because as we could see, after Bitcoin had that reversal, the trend became our friend, and it hasn't ended just quite yet because Bitcoin started making higher lows, as we can see right here, and higher highs, as we can see right here. Definitely a trend to the upside. Wait until it gets overextended on the RSI, or you see some kind of major news, or you see some kind of major breakout before that trend will end, or some kind of reversal signal like RSI divergence. Right now, though, guys, I do want to warn you that this maybe still be a good time to get into this trend because this trend is moving to the upside, but let me give you 2 reasons why it also might not be. If you will notice, this trend is not moving up quite as fast as Bitcoin was moving down. I would use that to argue that Bitcoin is still slightly more bearish than bullish, and that this is just a corrective rally, and that Bitcoin might have more to come. One other thing I want to point out is that Bitcoin is sitting right above this level of support that we were talking about many days ago before it actually became all that important, $11,700. That's a Fibonacci level and a previous level of support and resistance on Bitcoin's chart if you go back to Q1 of 2018. And as we can see, during the time I'm recording this video, Bitcoin looks like we might be having a bearish breakout below 11.7. Unfortunately, it'll take about 2 hours for this video to get out because it has to get edited and all the assets put together for it, but Bitcoin does look like it may be breaking bearish here. So even though there was a bullish rally here overnight, I would be cautious getting into this now because Bitcoin looks like it may be about to see some more bearishness to come. Anyway, that's all well and good talking about things that happened in the past that we can't act on because we're not Max Caulfield from Life is Strange, but that is kind of the problem, isn't it? We're talking about things that already happened, so let's talk about what we think is going to happen in the future. If you get that reference in the comment section, I will straight up send you like $10 in Bitcoin, by the way. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead and talk about the longer-term time frames and what we think Bitcoin is going to do from here, because we don't only have to look at the 15-minute chart, we have to look at the hourly chart, 4-hourly, and the daily chart and try to get an idea of whether or not this 4 or 5 month rally on Bitcoin is over. And guys, I'll be honest, Bitcoin did have a very large pullback here. This was definitely what I would consider a crash. Someone was like joking about, oh, Jeb, that's not a crash. And I'm like, okay, well, 18% in literally 3 minutes. What do you constitute as a crash if that's not it? I hate when people say that. No, that's not a crash, it's a pullback. Who cares? Bitcoin is down 25% in the span of a day. This is definitely a crash on Bitcoin. This is, if this were in the stock market, this would have been the beginning of a bear market. Luckily, we're not in the stock market and Bitcoin doesn't work quite like that. But nevertheless, I do want to discuss whether or not this is the end of the Bitcoin rally or if this little bounce here is going to mean anything. And there's a couple reasons why I don't think that this is necessarily over yet. It may be, but I'm still leaning a little bit more to the side of the bears. Part of the reason I say that is because Bitcoin has been crashing so much here. But this rally right here, even though it's been moving to the upside, even though we've had these higher lows like this and higher highs like this, even though it's a bullish trend, I don't necessarily think it's going to last. And the main reason I say that is because Bitcoin has crashed 25%. But to date, so far, at the time of recording this video, Bitcoin's only rallied 16% to compensate. And that's not 16% in the bearish direction. That is only, let's use the actual numbers here, that's only about $1,500 rise, but that is about a $3,500 correction. So Bitcoin has a long way to go before it actually proves to me that it's bullish again. This is definitely something that could look like on the longer term time frames to be a much more important, much longer term downtrend, because even though Bitcoin is making those shorter term higher highs and higher lows right here, Bitcoin on the longer term time frames, like on the hourly chart, has a lower low and a low right here, and we'll see if we get a lower low down here around $10,000. If we do, that's going to confirm to me that we're probably going to go below $10,000. Nevertheless, guys, it's not so much that I'm just exuberantly bearish on Bitcoin. It's not that I'm wishing for Bitcoin to go down, even though I kind of do because I can buy more if it goes down. It's not anything to do with that. What it has to do with is that Bitcoin has not proven to me yet that we are bullish again. Maybe it is. Maybe that was all we needed. Maybe a 25% correction on Bitcoin was everything we needed. I would personally like to see Bitcoin crash below $10,000 and come down here to around $9,000, where we have this level of resistance and support right here around $9,300, or even lower down here to around $8,700 to $8,900. I would like to see Bitcoin crash all the way down there. That would be a very healthy correction that I know the bulls would be very, very capable of recovering from, and they would be able to continue pushing the rally even higher from there. I know that if we have that correction, it's not going to be the end of the Bitcoin bull market, but at the same time, it would be the correction that we need to exhaust the bears for the next couple of months and allow the rally to continue all the way up to $12,000. So while I'm not wishing the worst for Bitcoin, I'm actually wishing the best for Bitcoin. I do think it would be better for Bitcoin if we had even more of a correction. One thing I do have to mention to you guys, though, is that if Bitcoin does fall below the 20 exponential moving average, then we have officially entered a downtrend phase. Bitcoin is still just in a correction here if we're talking about the daily chart. Bitcoin is still just in a correction here. We haven't actually entered a downtrend during the bear market yet because we haven't gone below the 20 EMA. If Bitcoin does that, it would go below the 20 EMA to come down to around $9,000 or wherever exactly those price targets are I was discussing. But I still think it would be short-lived. Bitcoin got so far away from the 20 EMA during this rally over the last couple of days that falling below the 20 EMA for a little while wouldn't be that big of a deal, and I think Bitcoin will be able to recover relatively quickly. Nevertheless, guys, out here on the daily chart, we do see that the MACD is starting to converge bearish, but that may change direction over the next couple of days if it does. As you can see, MACD was curving to the downside, and now it's actually curving to the upside again. We're still diverging, we're still converging bearish, and there still may be a cross, but it's a little ways off. That is an early warning sign. Remember that the MACD crossing itself, or the MACD converging or diverging bullish, and there being a change in that is an early warning sign that is then confirmed a little bit after the movement that's important from the actual cross itself. So guys, what MACD was telling you here is that you probably should have been shorting earlier on yesterday. Unfortunately, that ship has sailed, but at the same time, like I said, guys, there's always more opportunities for Bitcoin, especially if you're using leverage and you know what you're doing and you don't lose a bunch of money, because you can lose a bunch of money using leverage. I want to put that caveat here. If you're using leverage, there is a lot of money you can make in this market. Just because Bitcoin's having a correction doesn't mean you can't make money. You can short the market just as easily as you can long the market. One thing I do also want to mention here that I just realized was that Bitcoin has been trading around the 20 EMA. I've been paying more attention to the shorter term time frame, so I just noticed this. Bitcoin rejected from the 20 EMA earlier and actually bounced from the 20 EMA so far during the last couple of hours. Take that for what it's worth. Bitcoin might use that to march even higher, but I'm still not convinced that Bitcoin is bullish again. I'm going to personally need a little bit more confidence in the market before I go and start opening longer term long positions on the market. I do want to do that, and I am looking for places to do that, but I'm not doing it yet. Maybe if Bitcoin sets a higher high above 14,000 or a higher low above $10,300, then I'll be more confident. But for the time being anyway, guys, it's not that I'm bearish on Bitcoin, it's that I'm not confident in the bulls just yet. Anyway, guys, in conclusion, I think what we have done here is we've had a very healthy correction. I think that Bitcoin needs a little bit more of a correction for it to be a very, very healthy correction. But at the end of the day, this is not a bad thing for Bitcoin. This, in fact, is not a bearish thing for Bitcoin. Surprisingly enough, Bitcoin correcting and crashing 25% is a bullish thing for Bitcoin because, like I said earlier, it exhausted the bears a little bit and gave the bulls a time to breathe and gave them a couple days to go collect their funds, gave them the confidence and the positions and the technical analysis to want to buy more Bitcoin in the market. And after you see a 25% correction and crash like this, people are going to say, okay, the bears are going to be a little bit exhausted. The bulls have been able to get their strength back. We're going higher. So it's very possible that from here we do move to the upside. Like I said, I'm just not confident on the bulls quite yet. We'll see what happens from here. Like I said, nothing bad for the market. This is a very good thing for the market. In fact, I hope you guys got some positions just above $10,000. I know I wish I had, but unfortunately I was preoccupied. I'm definitely going to be looking for entry points on Bitcoin long positions and Bitcoin investing positions over the next couple of days. In fact, I may go ahead and buy another $3,000 or so at $11,700. Anyway, even though it's not an ideal position, sometimes timing the market is literally the exact worst thing you can do, and I want to take my own advice so that I don't make myself look like an idiot, and I don't miss out on Bitcoin bull markets in the future. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to do it for today's video. I hope you did get some good value out of this video. If you did, a couple things you can do are destroy that like button, guys. Like I said, it was mean to me the other day, and we need to punish it. Hubert hasn't been around in a little while. Hubert was keeping it in check, but unfortunately, since Hubert is now gone, we can he's not keeping the like button in check. So you guys are going to have to do that for him. Bless Hubert's heart. We'll talk about Hubert later. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.